Okay, I'm going to be demonstrating how to make some of the roller stamps that we have at the Meetinghouse and some of the ball stamps. These are some that I made at home this week with some very simple tools that I found around my house. Rigatoni, chopsticks, take-out chopsticks, and the end of my corkscrew. This is a project that's going to take a couple of days because there's not a whole lot of making time, but you want to, the clay needs to be firm enough that you can press into it without it distorting. So the first part of the project is just going to be making the tubes and the balls. So you're going to start with your lump of clay, loosen it up just a little bit, doesn't need a whole lot of wedging, and I'm going to break off a piece or use my wire. All of the projects that I'm going to be doing over the next few weeks are going to require as few clay tools as possible, mostly things that you're going to find around your house. Now I've got a nice canvas work surface here. If you don't have a canvas tabletop, a lot of people don't, you could either take a piece of plywood. The clay won't stick to the plywood, it will stick to smooth tabletops. And you also probably want a surface that you can pick up and move around, so if you're working at a dining table or a card table, you can pick it up and move it elsewhere. So I'm going to take long rolls first. What I'm doing is I took a piece of clay about the size of my fist, and I'm just going to start to roll it out into a longer tube. And I'm picking it up and moving it so that I don't get any flat spots. And I'm keeping my fingers at an angle. That also helps with keeping the clay from getting flat spots. Also going to tap it on the end to try to keep it flat. Alright, when you've got a tube that's about 6 or 8 inches long, you're going to cut it in half. If you don't have your wire cut off at home, dental floss works great, or a piece of fishing line. So I want to take these and really make them nice and round and make the ends nice and flat. So I'm going to continue to roll these, tap the ends until they're nice and flat. Take your finger if you've got a little bit of a divot and compress clay into there. I've got them nice and smooth and round. I'm just going to let them sit to the side, and they're going to dry overnight. I'll make the balls for the ball roller stamps. I'm going to pull off a piece of clay, about the size of a golf ball. And I'm just patting it back and forth in my hands until it becomes a nice ball. Now you're probably going to want to make a couple of balls and a couple of tubes so that you have some to practice on. While you're doing this step, you may as well make a few of them. And my hope is that when we can all come back together again, hopefully sooner rather than later, late spring, early summer, that we'll be able to share these and use them on projects together. The other thing that you're going to want to do is make yourself a little slab of clay so that you can practice with some of the textures that you're going to be finding around the house. So if you're a baker and you have a rolling pin, great. If you don't, a wine bottle, a glass bottle will work great as a rolling pin in a pinch. We usually have nice shims to use for helping control the thickness of our rolling pins, of our slab. And if you don't have one, you could use pencils. Pencils will work in a pinch. So rolling the clay out, turning it, rolling it again. So at this point, you're just going to be letting these set up overnight, loosely covered with plastic, and then going on to the next fun part, which is just going around your house and looking for things that look like they'd be interesting to press into clay. And this one was done with the ends of 3 different ends of paintbrushes. This one was done with the chopsticks. And this was done with the side of the rigatoni, the end of the rigatoni, and the corkscrew. So go around your house and look for things that you think would be interesting to press into clay, or even things that you don't think that would be that interesting. Just pull objects out, and we're going to just do a little experimenting and see what happens when we press them into clay. You could take the simplest object, like these chopsticks, and probably come up with, an infinite number of patterns just using this. And I'll show you now on this wet slab, though it's probably better if the slab is a little bit stiffer, but line the ends up. That's what I did on this one. I kind of made a loose herringbone pattern. So I'll see you tomorrow, well, in just a minute, with stage 2. So these were, just some of the patterns that I came up with just from chopsticks. So I'm going to admit I cheated a little bit. I've got the bisque fire running at the Meetinghouse, so I put these pieces on top of the kiln for about half an hour, and they're firm enough to use. I can still press into them, so I'll be able to put texture into them without, without it really collapsing on me. So a little softer than leather hard. So here we get to the fun part. All of the things that you've found around your house, you're going to do a little experimenting with. That's what you're going to do with your slab of clay. So, the example that I showed you with the rigatoni, I've got my rigatoni here, and I'm going to press in pattern. I could go wiggly on it. You could use the rigatoni like a little roller stamp itself. Or you can stamp it and line it up. It can overlap. Oh, that looks like rope. That's pretty cool. You could combine them. Showed you the chopsticks before. The corkscrew. Here are a few of the patterns that I've made. So you can just keep experimenting with it. You could even roll, smush this up and roll it back out if you need more surface area. So I'm just going to take one of the roller stamps, and you're going to want to, why waste a surface area? So we can do one pattern on the ends and a pattern down the center of it, so you basically get 3 stamps for the price of 1. I think I'm going to use the end of the chopsticks for, maybe I'll spiral out a little pattern of dots. And then the rigatoni. So the one that I did before was just kind of lining them up. Here I'm going to do, I took the rigatoni and I compressed it into the side of the piece and then lined up a row of them going down. And then bookended it going the next row up the side of the stamp. I'm going to do that going all the way around. Now I already have one of those, so I'm going to try adding another layer to it. I'm going to go the opposite direction and roll down the side. It's actually making kind of facets, that's interesting. And you can see a little bit of the mark from before. A little variation on a theme. And then I think I'm going to use the end of the rigatoni to create a pattern on the other end of the stamp. And I'm going to overlap them a little bit. So here's the one that I did that was just the stamps lining up. Now the roller stamps. Hey, Shelley. I'm working on a video for the.
You're not here in the right way. But it's a big deal.
It's so nice to have people just popping in. I love it. Shelley, I got something to tell you in just a minute. Okay, so then the roller stamp. I'm going to try one with the chopstick. The other one I did the square end of the chopsticks in kind of a herringbone pattern. This one I'm going to try with the round end. I'm going to make a belt around the middle. So this whole video thing is a new skill I'm working on because of the current situation that we're in. I've not done them before, so I'm hoping that over time, with practice, they get a little bit more clean. I figure out what is and isn't working, and you guys give me feedback when you're, after you've seen them and used them, let me know what's working and what isn't working.
And then do you have to edit them after you?
Well, we'll see. So Shelley just asked me about editing. So no, Shelley just asked me about editing, and I'm going to work on that this afternoon with my daughter. This is going to be a family affair, like the Meetinghouse has been from day one. She's going to show me how to do some video editing. Maybe I'll take audience questions next time. So I'm just going to keep going around. So I can't wait to see what you guys all come up with when we're back working at the Meetinghouse together and can use these